Hello, welcome back to my channel, Hasty Books. I'm Camila, and I'm very excited to be bringing you my August wrap-up today. I had a month of ups and downs in August, actually, just generally. And the beginning of August feels so long ago because I was in Canada, so it feels both like physically and time, distance. Anyway, so the first week of August I was in Canada. We came back here like, the second week of August, something like that. I was still unwell with COVID at that time. However, I was still kind of trying to read, trying to kind of use my time this way, trying to like appease my mind by we started watching New Girl because I needed like some light. I needed some light, easy things to just for my brain not to think, But I think I read 3 books in the first week. Yes, so I finished reading a French book that was at my parents' house, and I read 2 more, and then read the rest of the books when I came back here, which I think was 9 books. So I read 12 books in total in August, which is really good actually for having been up and down. Got a cold as well. I finally got better with COVID. I like literally had stuff coughing and everything. And then I got a cold, so I started coughing again. I'm just getting better again. Started doing lots of stuff. I've seen a cousin from Chile came to visit, been celebrating my husband's birthday, friend's birthday, been actually my company's 20th anniversary. So loads of really cool stuff. It's been really nice to be out and about, so I've been really happy about all of that. The weather is getting a bit cooler again, but I'm still pleased with general, summer turning into autumn vibes, which I'm all for actually. I really like the autumn. So it's a good time to be in Scotland, and I really like it. So yeah, August I read 12 books. I think a lot of short books. So, all good, why not? I did read 3 men this month. I feel like that's a record for a while. And to be fair, I think it's because a few of them were for the Booker Longlist. So yeah. Anyway, and I only read 1 author of color, which I think is shameful. And I don't think I read anything by queer authors or, yeah. So I don't think I did very well in terms of diversity or reading mindfully that much. Like I read a lot of stuff for the Booker Longlist, and then a lot of the stuff is just books that I picked up. I literally wasn't thinking that much. So anyway, still pleased with some of the books that I read. Let's go through the list. The first book that I finished reading in August, because I started in July, was Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I have mixed feelings about this book because I liked it, but I also didn't. The character was really passive, and I feel like that makes for really poor writing. I really actually didn't really like the main character that much, especially the part when she's growing up and she's actually very naive, and I feel like it makes a lot of sense in the way that she grew up and all of that. But her naivete, to me, it just wasn't endearing, and I just felt really just sad for her. I did like the twist at the end. Actually, I remember being like, oh, because I thought this book was really freaking boring. I'm not gonna lie, like the whole time, and I was just like, okay, where's this going? Oh yeah, and I kept like thinking, oh, this is how it's gonna end, blah blah blah. So I feel like the end added something to the book, but easily I could see people DNFing this book because. But do I want to see the movie now? Yes. I want to see it less than I did when I see it before. So when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I've heard a lot about this book. I'll read the book first. But now that I've read the book, I'm less interested, but we'll see. Anyway, the second book that I read was En route vers nowhere, so On the Road to Nowhere by Sophie Laurin. This is a book from Quebec. This is like a very kind of millennial book, so you can tell the age of the author, and her characters are based, I want to say something like the noughties, and they felt a bit older than me, but there's a lot of stuff they were going through in like their childhood, in Montreal and Quebec, and like going to college and growing up that I felt that were very real and I could relate, and that was really cool. And it's a friend to lovers kind of road trip love story, and it was sweet. It was just, there wasn't much to it. There wasn't very, you know, meat on the bone, but it was sweet. So yeah, I liked it. Next, I read Goodnight, Desdemona, Good Morning, Juliet by Anne-Marie Macdonald. This is a play that Macdonald wrote in the late 80s, which I hadn't realized it was actually quite so old. I read this book, so I actually had it at my parents' house because I read it at university. And it's about an academic who's basically researching the authorial voice of Shakespeare in the plays, and she falls into Othello and then in Romeo and Juliet. And like miscommunications happen, mishaps and everything. And it's really interesting, and there's a lot to it. Actually, it's really short, but I really enjoyed revisiting it. And it made me realize I have no idea how much I got from it the first time I read it. I must have been 18, first year of university. I didn't speak English that well. I definitely did not understand Shakespeare that well. So that was really interesting to revisit it now. I remember liking it, but I really liked it now. And I feel like I got a lot more to it. Also being a bit more aware of academia as well, and research, and like subtext and all of that. So that was really cool. It's a big recommend if you're looking for a play that plays on on reality, on literary, is a bit meta in that way, and if you like Shakespeare. So that was really cool. I really liked it. Next, I listened to an audiobook called Project Hail Mary by Weir of The Martian fame. I read this after having it highly recommended, I think on Rosika's channel from the Midnight Reader, and I remember reading The Martian many years ago and not connecting with it as much. I remember watching the movie and enjoying that a lot more because I feel like Matt Damon added a lot of personality to it, and it felt quite cold in the book. So actually I'm really glad that for this I listened to the audiobook, because I feel like the actor who did the voice added a lot to this character, and it was really interesting. It's basically a man who wakes up and he's in like a spaceship or whatever and he's like trying to remember how he got there, and it's juxtaposed with moments of his life on Earth and how he's got to that point. Basically there was a problem for Earth, and they sent out a Project Hail Mary to try to save Earth as like a last resort, and he's on that team. And so you get like both of the narratives. This book was really good. Do I care about it that much? No. But also it took a left turn. Like okay, if you don't want spoilers, please just skip to the next book. If you don't mind a little spoiler, it happens quite early in the book, so it's not that big of a spoiler. But anyway, alien life. Wait, what? I did not expect a literal spaceship of alien to show up. I did not expect this character to be basically BFF with an alien. I thought it took such a left turn, and I did not expect it at all. Even though The Martian was very kind of out there, it felt more realistic in that sense of science fiction, and that one felt more like science fiction fantasy. And look, aliens, fine, like let's not get into whatever alien life exists, probably. But I don't know, I just did not expect it. I did not expect it at all, and it really shocked me. But it added a really quirky side to this book, which I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the end, not that much, but I could see the logic. But this felt a bit like a farcical book. Like it felt like Andy Weir meet Douglas Adams, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I recommend for those who enjoy that kind of sci-fi, especially if you like alien stuff. Next, I read 5 books that were for the Booker, or that were on the Booker long list, which I ended up just reading. I was just like searching these books, and when I came up them and I had them, I was like, okay, I'll just read it. And most of them were quite short. So there was Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, Treacle Walker by Alan Garner, O. William by Elizabeth Strout, The Trees by Percival Everett, and The Colony by Audrey Magee. You can see all of my reviews in my short list kind of predictions and reaction video. I'll link it above, so you can go and see those reviews. The general gist was that I thought Small Things Like These was okay, short, concise, good. Treacle Walker was weird, nonsensical, fantasy, bizarre, yeah. William to me was a bit flat, and it's mostly the character that I did not like. The Trees I thought was quite funny and had some powerful moments in it. And The Colony I thought was really, really good. Talks a lot about colonial, I guess, oppression, expectations, traditions, language, and yeah, I thought it was actually really well done. And let's get to the last 3 books. So the first one was The High House by Jessie Greengrass. I think this came out last year. So I saw her talk at the Edinburgh Book Festival last year or the year before. I don't remember when. All the years, the COVID years are kind of blending in. But it sounded really good. It's basically a bit of a climate crisis novel. And I thought it was really good. Like the urgency, actually I felt a bit panicked reading it, but it was really good. Basically, you get mostly 2 voices of 2 girls who are growing up while the climate crisis is kind of coming to a height. Basically, the apocalypse is about to happen, and they end up at the High House. And you get both of their journeys there, like how they ended up there, also their perspective of how it happened as 2 younger people living it, and being guided through that a little bit by their older family members. And it ended in a way that was not hopeful. I thought I was going to go toward that because they survive, but for how long is basically the question at the end. And I thought it was really interesting, and also I thought it really made me think, and it made me worry, but I feel like that's what the climate crisis should be doing. So I thought it was really, really good. It was less nerve-wracking than I thought to read it, but I still felt when I finished it, I was still like, I felt like a weight. I was just like, you know, but an excellent, excellent book that I highly, highly recommend. Next, I finished my one classic of the month, To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. So this is my 4th Woolf of the year, I think, or 5th. This is the one I feel like that a lot of people talk about, because I feel like we know what the lighthouse represents. Or if you've seen some literary analysis anyway, you will know what the lighthouse represents in terms of this unattainable thing, or a thing that you look forward to, like all of these sort of omnipresent things in our lives, these points, these goals, these expectations, like it's all of these things. And so I feel like for that reason is why I enjoyed this Virginia Woolf novel the most out of all the ones I've read, because I was already aware of like the discussion and debate around this book. So I felt while reading it, I could see where those talks and those ideas had come from. So that was really interesting, because I feel like Virginia Woolf really needs to be discussed and thought about a lot. So genuinely, I think at the moment it's my favorite of the Woolf novels, and I think it's a one that I really want to revisit already, and I want to keep thinking about, and take my time. I feel like I try to read it really quickly, and I want to revisit in a like slow, more mindful way. And finally, the last book that I finished in August, I started in June but I finished in August, was The Lido by Libby Page. This is a very cozy novel about a group of people who want to save their local Lido. I think it's somewhere in London. And I thought it was really good. Actually, this book actually had a lot of emotional weight to it. So the main character has basically anxiety, kind of panic attacks. And it felt very relatable. And I think the way it was described was so real. Someone who has anxiety and panic attacks. I thought this was very real, and I really love the way that the main character gains confidence throughout. You really see her journey, and I like that it's tied with the Lido, and you see a lot of other characters around her and how the Lido is important to them. That's like at the center of, obviously, of the novel. So this main character is a journalist, and she kind of gets sent to talk to this older woman who goes to the Lido, who's worried about the Lido closing. And so the journey is their friendship, which I thought was beautiful. it's also there trying to save the Lido. So I thought that was really good. Did I think that this novel could have been shorter? Yes. I think it could have done with a bit of harsher editing in terms of, I think this book tried to really create the world around the Lido, and there are literally chapters where it's like, oh, the fox was walking around the Lido, and there was ice cream or something like that. Anyway, and I was like, what is this chapter here for? It's clearly for atmosphere. It's like descriptive of, you know, the world of the Lido. But it was like, what is this adding for me? Nothing. So I really wish it had been shorter. And there was also some chapters about characters that are just like kind of in the background, which is kind of cool to see. But also I was like, this isn't adding anything to this book. Especially when you already have so much with the main two characters. Their friendship and like their gaining of confidence and their relationship with the Lido. I thought that was beautiful. So a really nice light read. If you like swimming, if you like to read about intergenerational female friendships, I recommend this one. And that was it. Thank you for bearing with my sore throat, which is, I'm taking a bit of breaks with talking. But these were the 12 books that I read in August. I'm quite pleased in terms of different moods, of different things I achieved, you know, of reading in French, reading classics, reading books I own, reading for an award. So that was really cool. Let me know what you think your favorite book of August was. I would love to know if you have a good recommendation for me. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and hey, see you back. Bye!